contested calendar. The clerk will read.
SBL11003, introduced by Senator Hamlin, a resolution to recognize the success of the University of South Carolina Office of New Student Orientation at the 2008 NOTA Region 6 Conference.
Senator Hamlin is recognized to speak on the resolution.
All right. First, like 3 or 4 sessions, and we've already got something on the contested calendar. This is pretty lit. We didn't really see this much last year. Basically, what I feel like this is kind of going to turn into, because the way this is going to work is that once I'm done here speaking and answering questions, other senators, y'all are going to get a chance to speak on the bill as you'd like to. And I have a feeling that this is kind of going to start turning into a debate on resolutions in general, as opposed to the one that we're actually voting on. So I just kind of want to remind you guys exactly what you're actually going to be voting on before we leave here. And that's, you have 53 undergraduate, mostly first-year students, believe it or not, going out to this conference. It was an outside conference with, I believe, between 60 and 65 institutions of higher education in region, Southeast region represented, excuse me. They came home with some awards when, again, most schools didn't come home with any. And I think that that's just a really incredible representation of what this university can do. We actually, I was just thinking about this, I didn't mention this previously, we're one of the few schools with a big staff like ours that can actually afford and have the resources to send all of our staff there. So the fact that we were able to do that, we have the resources to do that, and then they were able to have so much success there, I think is, again, truly a testament to what this office and the students who staff it, especially the students who staff it, are capable, and I think that's what we're recognizing. Just in terms of resolutions themselves, I understand what y'all on judiciary are, where you're coming from. I know one of the last things my committee, Safety and Transportation, passed at the end of the 109 was we actually passed a recommendation, but it was pushing for change in policy. And that's a lot of what we should be doing here. We should be trying to change policy for the better at this university, because that's really our jobs. But I feel like, and you see this in, again, other student senators across the country. You see this in actual legislatures and state governments, local governments. I went to a city council meeting last night, and they passed a ton of resolutions and proclamations. And this is what legislatures do. They take things that, should be recognized. In our case, students doing pretty cool things, like really good things. They take that and we recognize it. That's kind of what legislatures do. And I don't think it would be wise for us. Sure, maybe we do need to, look at what we are recognizing, so we're not, passing them out left and right and using them as excuses for not passing anything else, because that has happened in the past. And I've had this conversation with Senator Green that we do need to change that culture. But I don't think that going after resolutions that recognize groups of students for accomplishments like this is the way to do it. That's my firm belief. And that's just been guided by my own personal experience here in the Senate and being able to witness so many other student governments and actual governments do their thing. So I ask that you please, just for these 53 students who worked their tails off, they're all super excited. They're all super excited to see that this was put on the floor. And I guess the only last thing I have to ask is that if y'all think that something's important and you introduce a resolution to it, and then the Senate comes by and tells not you, because I have thick skin so I can take it, but those 53 students that what they did wasn't good enough or important enough to be recognized by their fellow students, I think that's a real kick in the gut, and I think that just exemplifies the problem that student government has of seeming out of touch with regular students. It's a problem we've had, it's a problem we continue to have, and it's a problem that we're trying to fix and making strides on fixing. I just don't think this is the way to fix it. And so I just ask that you please remember exactly what we're recognizing here and vote yes on this resolution. With that, I do yield to questions.
Senator Hamlin yields to questions. Senator Wong.
What were the exact awards that they received?
So the 2 group awards that they won is there's again all these different competition type things. And they sound kind of silly just on the onset, but it's insane how competitive these things get. One was a very heavily practiced and integrated kind of song and dance routine kind of deal. And out of all the 60-something schools that did it, we had the best one out of all of them, which I think was pretty nice. And then they designed a really cool, I think it's up in the OL office if any of y'all want to stop in and see it. This really cool banner that we also had the best one in. And then there was an individual award for our coordinator for outstanding new professional out of all the new professional staff across the region. So again, it kind of sounds like little silly things, but in the orientation world and in the freshman transition world, this conference is a huge deal. And these competitions are probably the highlight of it for a lot of these schools. They work really hard. They put in hours and hours on weekends, prepare for it and get ready for it. I know our staff volunteered for it because we're not collecting paychecks yet. We're not on payroll yet. So we were volunteering 8 hours a day on Sundays just to do this thing that lasted 2.5 minutes. And having great success at it. So that answer your question? Awesome.
Fair Dively, right?
We believe that those two group awards are held in the same esteem as the one individual award.
I always like just to emphasize the one individual award because as opposed to 60-something schools doing it, there are hundreds of new professional staff in NOTA Region 6. So I just like to highlight that as just saying that ours just happened to be the most outstanding of all of them. But I believe, honestly, I think that the group ones carry a little more weight and a little more merit just because, just of how hard everybody worked and that we ended up on top still.
Mr. Hines, is red pass?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly who yet, but it's going to be one of our team leaders who are all undergraduate students.
Here's Sternberg, is recognized.
Since this is, that's diminished the accomplishments. But this is one of the first.
Mr. Sternberg, you have
Okay, my question is, do you not think that as the first resolution, that this should also
No, personally, because every resolution is different. Every resolution is going to be introduced by a different senator. Every resolution is going to have a chance to get voted on. If we start worrying about legislation we pass based on what kind of precedent we're going to set too much, we're kind of talking right now, we're not going to get anything done. You can't be afraid to do things just because you think it's going to set a precedent. We're all very open-minded and individually minded people, so I don't think we're that susceptible to precedents if we know they're negative ones.
Mr. Drummond is recognized.
It was anywhere between 60 and 65. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a large amount of institutions.
Mr. Sternberg.
No, actually, I think that emphasizes the need for a resolution because here's the thing. We talk about resolutions for, again, athletes. We talk about resolutions for, very influential people who are part of the USC and Carolina communities. And the reality is that, those people are already getting all sorts of recognition from all sorts of different places. And it's great that we add that to it because I think we do have a voice, we do carry some weight, and I'm very glad that we recognize those people. I voted in favor of every single athletic resolution we had last year. And there were a lot of them because we had some very accomplished athletes. But at the same time, these are just students like you and me. These are students you see every single day. These students could even, they could have been sitting in this room if they wanted to, And I think that we should recognize things that are great accomplishments still, but aren't exactly, in the headlines. I think that kind of emphasizes the need for it personally.
Mr. Sternberg is recognized.
I did, yes.
Do you think that it might be more appropriate for someone not to participate in that instead to recognize that on behalf of
absolutely. And, one could think that, I guess. It's just a matter of, okay, I'm trying to think clarification-wise, just for clarification, are you asking basically, should I just not wrote in a resolution of which I was a party to? Okay. That's an understandable concern, and I understand that. But at the same time, I think that the senator who introduces a resolution should be the person who will know the most about what that resolution entails and know exactly why they're introducing it. I think it carries more power and more weight if the person introducing it was, some sort of party to it, or say, like Speaker Ellis's resolution last year recognizing, I believe his name is Mr. Clark, who does some great stuff about food insecurity over down in Allendale. Speaker Ellis definitely knew Mr. Clark the best out of all of us, I would assume. And and he had that passion. He knew the kind of passion that Mr. Clark had for that kind of thing. So, I mean, he was able to represent that bill and what it meant more than, I think, better than anyone else could have.
Ortiz.
Isn't it true that a senator passed a resolution last year for the dance marathon, and she was also a participant, not even a participant, on the leadership board of dance marathon?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I would say that that senator probably knew dance marathon, better. I mean, a lot of senators aren't dance marathon, so that's a tough example for me to, equate there. But I mean, they knew dance marathon like the back of their hand, so I think it was most appropriate for them to bring that enthusiasm to the table.
How do you think you feel as a parent of a child who's sending their child away for a couple of days to an award-winning orientation staff at the University of South Carolina? How do you think that would affect the recruiting for the school, knowing that children will be molded correctly by award-winning staff?
I mean, we are a very recognized orientation staff in the orientation world. Not everyone knows the orientation world, but we have been putting this out on it. We got some brand new social media stuff. U of SC owns so really great follow if y'all want to follow that. Shameless plug. But I mean, we're putting it out there that your students, your incoming students, are coming to a great group of orientation leaders. And I think that this kind of publicity is not only great for the office, but also for the University of South Carolina. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to attract new students here. And I think you bring up a great point that it will make parents a little more comfortable, and it just brings great press and attention to the program. And that's that.
Senator Hines is recognized. There's second. Without objection, so ordered. Senator Strawberry is recognized.
For the purpose of increasing the efficiency of Senate students, what criteria would you set?
I mean, again, I said this last time. I don't want to sit here and set criteria because that's not my job. My job is to sit here, and if a senator thinks that a resolution is worthy of coming up to the table, my job is to ask them questions about it, like y'all are doing right now, and I really, really love and appreciate this debate, and then vote on it. And if I don't think it fits that criteria, I vote no on it. And if I think it does, I'll vote yes on it. It's not my job to set any criteria. I think that we're all really intelligent people, and that we can determine what we think the criteria is for ourselves when we go to vote.
Senator Rothenberg is recognized.
You were saying that it would make things more long and there's more money to send with the if they have the numbers. But do you think that that many parents follow Northern Region Census?
Oh no,
like,
I mean,
those awards, because like I just looked it up, and there are 9 regions, and I'm sure there's like many awards getting out to those regions. So can you tell the kids or their parents that there was an award going for like singing or
I think for the most part, I mean, again, that's all up to what you think, how they're going to react to that. Again, I can't tell you how they're all reacting to it because I'm not them. But at the end of the day, the way I see it, again, it's good. It's good to see that we have a staff that puts so much time and energy into this and really cares about this. Parents aren't going to notice that on NOTA Region. They don't know what NOTA Region 6 is, but all they have to see is the Office of New Student Orientation posting something about winning awards and working their tails off and doing all of that. I think it just shows a dedication.
You're out of time for debate. Thank you, Senator Hamlin. We are now in line for a period of debate. Any senators wishing to bring forward points of debate shall be recognized. As a reminder, if the senator recognized is not yielding questions, this is a debate, and statements from the floor are allowed. Senator Green is recognized.
Well, evening. Today, I want to talk to you guys today because I rise in opposition to this resolution, not because of its sentiment, but because of the way it's being put forth. I do recognize the sentiment that this resolution is doing in recognizing these people. So I went and I wrote a letter, actually, to the Office of New Student Orientation, basically outlining everything that the resolution states on the official student government letterhead and stuff like that. And I'm going to sign it, and I encourage all of you to sign it because I think that it is important that we are commending and recognizing different students and students on this campus. However, I don't think that a resolution is the way to be doing this in this particular instance. I think a letter, just to give you you guys can all read it, of course, but the last paragraph says, on behalf of the University of South Carolina student body, the Student Senate extends its sincere gratitude for representing the University of South Carolina in such a positive way. We are immensely grateful for the time your office dedicates to conducting and continually improving the orientation process for incoming students. Finally, we once again congratulate the students and Jordan Harmon on their tremendous accolades. Signed, and then all of you who would like to sign. So, as I said before in my committee report, I would like these resolutions, or I personally think resolutions should be limited to what we're talking about as far as university policy. The 2001 to 2002 Student Senate wrote an entire report on, or actually like resolutions and stuff, on a report done by the Strategic Decisions and Initiatives report, which the university put out and stuff like that. Just to read you some of the different things that these resolutions actually changed. SBL11003 changed it so that we had an LSC, Leadership and Service Center, exists today because of a resolution written by the Student Senate. The Honors College has its own dorm and its own group for individual freshmen because of a resolution written by the Student Senate. The College of Mass Communications and Information is merged because of a resolution written by the Student Senate. And so I think that these are the kind of things we should be doing. I don't think we should be racing to pass as many resolutions and pieces of legislation as possible. We need to be really careful about what we do. These resolutions are sent to the Board of Trustees themselves. They read these resolutions, right? The president reads these resolutions. It's one of the only ways we as students can get a piece of legislation on the university's president's desk. And I think we need to make sure we're careful about what we're putting on his desk. We need to make sure that we have resolution in what we're putting on that desk. And I think that that we can have the same sentiment as recognizing students like the Office of New Student Orientation through this letter. And I think that's much more appropriate than this resolution.
Senator Boyd is recognized. Does Senator Green yield for questions? You cannot. You don't have to yield for questions, but you can yield the floor if you have someone respond to your statement.
Oh, yeah, I yield the floor.
For response or in general?
No, I yield for the response.
Okay, Senator Boyd.
What is the point of having your letter when you already have a systematic way of expressing sentiment? Isn't your letter just a more clunky, less efficient way to express a sentiment of the accomplishments of a faculty member or a group of students?
No, I actually completely disagree. I think a resolution is riddled with whereases, therefore, stuff like that. It's very cold. It's very impersonal. This letter, I mean, I spent time on stuff like that, and that's not to say Mr. Hamlin spent, or Senator Hamlin spent a good amount of time on that resolution and stuff like that. But I think this is a lot more personal. We're going to, hopefully some of you guys will sign this. I think, if we want to talk about, what we're doing for these students and stuff like that, maybe when we're thanking student organizations, we can motion for, to suspend the rules. We can all come up here. We can make a video. We can say, thank you, X, thank you, Y, whoever you are and stuff like that. Resolutions are not, that's not what a resolution should be for, in my opinion. And I think that past Senates have done a poor job of setting the precedent for us as for what a resolution should do. And I think precedent is huge. And I think we do need to set the precedent for ourselves and for future Senates as to what we want our student body to do.
Senator Hines.
We should be
My biggest problem with the points that you're bringing to the floor today is that, some questions. Have you read every single resolution that's ever been passed?
By the Student Senate in all 110 years?
Yes.
No, I've not.
Okay, so if you take a look at just 109, you will see a resolution. I'm just quickly looking through these. One of the first things I see is an appreciation for the efforts for the leadership and service center of Senator Blake. I'm not naming his name, he's still around. But that's one individual who's part of the Senate who also brought forth, or someone brought forth, they discussed it, they brought forth this resolution, okay? And so that's with just one person. It's not some athlete, it's not some faculty member, it's not some organization that we're kind of doing a resolution for. So the accomplishments of this orientation leaders is a lot bigger than, in my opinion, of the accomplishments of that one senator, okay? Going along with that, president, people keep talking about president. President was set 110 years ago. You're making resolutions, bills, referendums for 100 years.
I think we need to set a new one.
Okay, set a new one, but you are not, you as one senator cannot decide what you want a resolution to look for. You're allowed to kind of talk about what you believe in, for sure, but you can't in 1 year, especially your first term as senator, be like, well, I don't agree with everything that's been passed for the past 110 years. I'm going to change what you said.
Point of order, Senator Chief, you're making perfect. Please.
Okay, well done.
Here, Rocky Berganova.
I think going back to what Senator I said, there are many organizations that don't get recognized for doing, but I think that's what, like, Senator Hamlin, the reason why he's bringing up this resolution is because he's part of that organization. And I think that there are over 500 organizations on campus, so, and there's only 50 of us, so that means that there are hundreds of organizations that are not, like, spoken for and that their accomplishments are not recognized. So the fact that Senator Hamlin is trying to recognize his own organization.
Point of order, Senator Rocky Berganova. Thank you. Senator Lateef.
For clarification, what do you mean by personal inquiry?
You said you cannot do this, you cannot do these things for this reason. It's a question most another senator to place Robert rules. Senator Guidley.
Do you think it matters if this is only your first term senator? Or you making this call?
No, I don't think it matters. I think several people who were incumbents ran this year and were not elected. I don't think that the student body, I think they realized that they weren't pleased with how student government was running and stuff like that. And so I ran and stuff like that. I sat in every Senate session last year and stuff like that. I carried that Robert's Rules book around in my backpack every day. I am trying my absolute darndest to make sure that I'm representing the student body to the best of my ability.
Senator Ofendo Reyes.
Going along with your student body, do you think that it was wrong for Casey to have a resolution for something he said?
I don't have an opinion on that right now.
Would you count that as just being a representative?
What do you mean?
As a senator, we represented you. Yes. So, is it? I say that.
You're trying to say, do I think it's wrong that he's in the office and his orientation and propose a resolution based on?
Not him in particular, but a senator who is also in an office.
Right.
To recognize their own office.
I don't have time.
Senator Cordes is recognized.
If I don't know, this might be on the line of personal inquiry, so I apologize if it is. But if I remember correctly, you said last session when we initially discussed this, it was noted that we passed a resolution recognizing the women's basketball team. And you said that you approved of that one, and that could be an exception to the rule. But would you comment on why that student organization accomplishment matters, and you don't think that this one is worthy of resolution?
Okay, so to be clear, I'd say not that this like a.
I apologize.
No, you're
that
fine.
was worthy of ruling.
No. So I'm trying to answer the question carefully. Well, the women's basketball team isn't a student organization. They're athletic, so they're different departments, stuff like that. So, but I know where you're coming from, and so I would say that would be an exception to the rule because the women's basketball team won a national championship. They took the university to a national level, but unprecedented. Asia Wilson, first overall draft pick. One of only three in the University of South Carolina's history and stuff like that. So those are exemplary in the purest sense of the form and the word.
Senator Drummond is recognized.
All right, so being a member of diversity and inclusion committee, I think it's important for us as students because we have the power to create a system of inclusion for everybody and let everybody know that they're important and what they do is important to the contribution to the campus, so we can have a better atmosphere of students. So, what would you say, someone said that what you're doing right now is more so undermining or telling those students that what you're doing, because it's not in the spotlight, because it's approved championship, but disapprove because they enter the competition and they excel in the competition, the same thing, it may be a lower scale because they don't have the platform that basketball has, but it seems like more so an undermining message, telling them what you're doing it's cool, that's right, but it's not enough. What would you say to that?
I would say that's definitely a fair point and stuff like that, and that's definitely something I need to consider. But my biggest point here is that what national championships come around, once in a lifetime. So that's when we were. I don't want to get caught up on the semantics of that particular thing. Right now, my point is that what I would say would be the majority of what our resolutions should be concerned with and stuff like that. And so that's why I'd say university policy. So that way we don't have to get mired in the minutia of whether or not this student org deserves this or this student org deserves this and stuff like that. So I would say to wrap that up, I guess I think like this where I wrote this letter and stuff like that, or where I'm talking about suspending the rules to make a video with all of us senators and stuff like that, where we can post on our social media. Our comms team is getting a whole revamp this year and stuff like that. We have press secretaries all over the place. So we're pushing out this message, a personal one, saying, yes, thank you, we recognize you. We're telling the whole student body in an even broader way than even these resolutions do and stuff like that. These resolutions no one knows. I don't know all the ones that got passed last year unless I dig into the archives, and look at stuff like that. But I think of a video we start posting that on Twitter of us thanking, Feminist Collective, I believe is what it was called and stuff like that. I think that's a lot more powerful, and I think that's more personal for what students should be doing to recognize other students.
Your board is recognized.
What do you think certain achievements, that you would deem as lesser should be given a letter because they're more warm, less cold, but you think those achievements would be higher, such as winning an award for being really good at basketball is worthy of a resolution which you describe as more cold?
I don't know. No, that's fine. We're getting caught up on that, but I don't know. That's just going to be my answer. Somebody asked it. I don't know.
Since the current platform or regulations regarding how to write a resolution you disagree with, how quickly are you planning on bringing a bill to the floor to maybe try to change in the codes and constitutions regarding the impact of these resolutions or formats?
No. I'm not advocating for a change in the codes to change what you are allowed to write in a resolution. I'm not barring Senator Hamlin or any other. I'm not barring Senator Hamlin or any other senator from proposing a resolution like that. I'm just saying I personally don't think that's what we should be spending time on. I'm not advocating for a code change.
Senator Hamlin is recognized.
All right, so I've introduced this resolution. We're going to vote on it tonight, I'm assuming. If it fails, which I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it fails, and we send that letter, which I was not aware existed until right when you started, unfortunately. Do you think that us saying, well, here's this letter, we're sending this to you instead of the resolution because it failed, do you think that kind of adds insult to injury of the resolution failing because they are aware that this resolution exists? Actually, they tweeted something about it today. It was really nice. Do you think that just adds insult to injury and that we didn't think they were important enough for that, but now we're just going to send them this letter that's on the official letterhead?
No, I don't think it's insult to injury. I don't think it's injury at all. I think it's extremely admirable that we are sitting here discussing what the Office of New Student Orientation is doing and stuff like that. And it is unfortunate that they had to be the particular subject of the resolution that is being discussed right now. But if anybody had proposed a resolution recognizing any organization, I would have said the same thing. So no, I don't think it's an insult to injury. I think it's still in the same sense.
Senator Sternberg.
I think the fact of the matter is we have over 500 organizations on campus. I understand that in the interest of inclusion, we want to be able to recognize everyone for their achievements no matter what level the achievement is, whether it be playing basketball at a high level or going into this competition that the next organization. However, in Senate, we only have so much time to discuss new bills. And I think in this case, we need to set clear guidelines and we need to make it very. Perhaps we need to create these resolutions outside of Senate. Perhaps this could be something, because there's over 500 organizations, this could be something that could seriously slow down the efficiency of the Senate body. It has nothing to do with inclusion and has nothing to do with whether one event is more significant.
Senator Corker is recognized.
Yeah, so section 14 of the student code, the resolution section, the student senate shall have the power to make resolutions to express the opinion of the student senate on a particular issue, commemorate some achievement, affirm or other cause, or to declare the undertaking or completion of a project or initiative by the student senate. Do you propose, I know you said you don't propose a change to them, but within the next turnover, senators will just write resolutions,
No, they definitely could, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not barring anyone from their codified rights as far as to write that resolution and stuff like that. I'm just saying I would like to set a new precedent and a new culture. I mean, like we talked, you asked, and I went around and I did ask, I'm a senator from the College of Arts and Sciences, so I went out and I asked my constituents. I said, what do you think of student government? I mean, stuff like that. What do we do? We pass resolutions. Well, what kind of resolutions do we pass? We pass resolutions commemorating people, but they have no idea who we're commemorating. Right, like I said, these resolutions are going to the board, they're going to the president. Resolutions need to be about things that are changing people's lives and stuff like that. And I think our things needs to be separate from our policy decisions in that sense.
Senator Hamlin is recognized.
I'm just going to seize on the changing people's lives thing for a moment. Just because that struck me, I'll be honest with you. A lot of orientation leaders stay in contact with a lot of their students throughout the year. I know I stay in contact with at least one of mine. Do you think that there are some students on this campus who may have been reluctant to come to USC, who may have been scared about the college experience, who may be diving with both feet into something they are completely unfamiliar with, that the orientation experience changes their lives, and that the quality of orientation leaders plays into that?
Sure, I think orientation leaders do change lives, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Lewis is recognized. Is there a second?
Second.
This motion will go to a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Asbury. Senator Baumann. Senator Cornell. Senator Corcoran. Senator Cordes. Senator Corley. Senator Dennis. Senator Dive Lee. Senator Drummington. Senator Dunnington. Senator Dunnington. Senator Ellerby. Senator Fawcett. Senator Gates. Senator Green.
Nay.
Senator Hamlin.
Aye.
Senator Hampton. Senator Hardwick. Senator Hill. Senator Hines. Senator Lang. Senator Lateef.
Yay.
Senator Lateef. Senator Leslie. Senator Lewis. Senator Nguyen. Senator Mindy. Senator Ofinda Reyes. Senator Patrick. Senator Philpott.
Nay.
Senator Prelou. Senator Raham Barganova. Senator Sturman. Thank you. Senator Sternberg.
Nay.
Senator Stewart. Senator Thackeray. Senator Thompson. Senator Thorpe. Senator White. Senator Wong. Senator Boyd. Senator Rodriguez.
As a reminder, this is a motion to end debate. Voting aye means you are voting to end debate. Voting nay means you're voting to not end debate. If you would like to change your vote, is there a motion to reconsider the question? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The clerk will again call the roll. Come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Asbury. Senator Boyd. Senator Bauman. Senator Cannell. Senator Corcoran. Senator Cordes. Senator Corley. Senator Dennis. Senator Dagley. Senator Drummond. Senator Dunnington. Senator Ellerby. Senator Fawcett. Senator Finsky. Senator Gates. Senator Gathers. Senator Green. Senator Guerrero. Senator Hamlin. Senator Hampton. Senator Hardwick. Senator Hill. Senator Hines. Senator Lang. Senator Lateef. Senator Lateef. Senator Leslie. Senator Lewis. Senator Mindy. Senator Nguyen. Senator Ofindo Reyes. Senator Patrick. Senator Philpott. Senator Prelou. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Rahenberganova. Senator Richardson. Senator Stilmelmeyer. Senator Sternberg. Senator Stewart. Senator Thackeray. Senator Thompson. Senator Thorpe. Senator White. Senator Wong. Senator Ellis.
By a vote of 41 to 4, debate has ended. The debate period is now closed. The question is of passage of SBL 11003. The clerk will call the roll. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay.
Senator Asbury. Senator Boyd. Senator Bauman. Senator Cannell. Senator Corcoran. Senator Cordes. Senator Corley. Senator Dennis. Senator Dagley. Senator Drummond. Senator Dunnington. Senator Ellerby. Senator Ellis. Senator Fawcett. Senator Finsky. Senator Gates. Senator Gathers. Senator Green. Senator Guerrero. Senator Hamlin. Senator Hampton. Senator Hardwick. Senator Hill. Senator Hines. Senator Lang. Senator Lateef. Senator Lateef. Senator Leslie. Senator Lewis. Senator Mindy. Senator Nguyen. Senator Ofindo Reyes. Senator Patrick. Senator Philpott. Senator Prelou. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Rahenberganova. Senator Richardson. Senator Stilmelmeyer. Senator Sternberg. Senator Stewart. Senator Thackeray. Senator Thompson. Senator Thorpe. Senator White. Senator Wong.
Polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 30 to 15, SBL 11003 has passed. Continuing with the second contested reading calendar, the clerk will read